Assalamualaikum and a very good day to all.
Thank you. Hello everyone. Good day to Associate Professor, Technologist Dr. Amir bin Khalid, Dr. Hazrin Hani, Postgraduate Student Chapter Committee members, and to all participants. My name is Karthikeyan Murugaya, and today I'm going to be your moderator. It is a great pleasure to welcome all of you today to Seminar Penyediaan Graf Penyelidikan, proudly organized by Postgraduate Students Chapter Committee, UTHM. So before we start with our event, I would like to invite Mr. Muhammad Ridwan bin Kamaruddin to recite prayers.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Al-Fatihah. Alhamdulillah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين حمدا يوافي نعمه ويكافئ مزيده. يا ربنا لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك وعظيم سلطانك. اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا ولوالدينا وارحمهم كما ربونا صغارا ولجميع المسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم وأموات برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم اجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما وتفرقنا من بعده تفرقا معصوما ولا تجعل فينا ولا معنا شكيا ولا مترودا ولا محروما. Ya Allah, ya Tuhan kami, hanya padamu kami panjangkan kesyukuran atas segala rahmat dan berkat-Mu. Kami mohon taufik dan hidayah-Mu. Kurniakanlah kesejahteraan dan kebahagiaan kepada kami. Bukakanlah hati kami, lapangkanlah dada kami supaya kami dapat mengisi ilmu pengetahuan yang berguna untuk agama, bangsa dan negara. Ya Allah, ya Rahman, ya Rahim, kami mohon kepadamu agar Engkau berkatilah majlis ini dengan limpahan rahmat-Mu. Semoga segala usaha kami dalam menjayakan majlis ini mendapat keredaan-Mu. Mudah-mudahan Engkau permudahkan dan lancarkanlah segala urusan kami. Ya Allah, ya Zal Jalali wal Ikram, sesungguhnya pada hari ini kami berkumpul kerana-Mu ya Allah. Kami mohon kekuatan dari hadrat-Mu ya Allah, supaya kami yang hadir pada hari ini dapat melaksanakan segala kebajikan dan kami mohon perlindungan daripada melakukan keburukan. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azaban nar. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Thank you, Muhammad Ridwan, for the prayers. Dear participants, today our speaker is going to be Associate Professor, Technologist Dr. Amir bin Khalid, the Director of UTHM Publisher Officer. He is from Faculty of Engineering Technology under the Department of Mechanical Engineering Technology. It is an honor to invite him as a speaker today. I know you all have been very excited to learn something new, but before that, I would like to set some ground rules. Guys, please switch off your mic or else it will cause inconvenience to the speaker. If you have any question, you can type the question or you can open the voice chat and ask. After the questions, please kindly switch off your mic. Please fill in the feedback form at the end of the session. I hope everyone is clear with the rules. Your cooperation will be a great asset for the success of the workshop. So, Doctor, are you ready? Because the screen is all yours now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, first of all, I would like to thanks to Postgraduate to invite me to share about the a little bit knowledge about the scientific graphing. Okay, may I share the slide? Can you respond once the slides appear on your screen?
Not yet, Doctor.
Not yet, Doctor.
Not yet.
Not yet. We can see you presenting something, but there are no slides yet.
Please respond once it appears.
Okay, Doctor, we can see the slides.
How about the second slide?
Yes, we can see that.
Okay. Okay. Today, I would like to share about the scientific graphings, and then today we are focusing on a part of the software, which is Origin Pro. And then during this session, maybe if you have any question, you can ask directly lah. Not wait until the end of the session, because we need to try to solve any difficulty in this during this presentation. Okay. Okay. This is about my data on the publication, and for your information, my field is automotive engineering, and the niche area is combustion and fuel, and also the renewable energy. Okay, this is a outline from this session. First, I would like to introduce or discuss about the little bit background of scientific graphing and Origin Pro, and then continue with the research scenario. That means why we need to understand the scientific graphing in research flow, and then continue with the Origin software, and then we can discuss about the Origin application for presentation, and then the Origin application in publication, and last is summary. Okay, why we need to understand about the scientific graphing? First, the complex analysis impress people. That means we need to produce a good graph in order to impress the people, especially in the publication and presentation. Advantages of combining quantitative and qualitative data. That means normally if you do the research, we will involve about the qualitative and quantitative, and then we try to maximize the impacts of these both. Mixed method to be successful, issue of sampling, design, data analysis, and data presentation need careful attention. Approach to synthesizing data, informational and or factual element to answer the research question. Method of putting together the facts and figures to solve a research problem. systematic process of utilizing data to address research question, breaking down research issue through utilizing control data and factual information. From all these elements, the important aspect is we try to make sure that the graph we are produced from the research output is available to publish and present in the best way. Okay, and then this is a background of the research flow and how to we make sure that the scientific graphing is contribute to the research flow. Normally in research flow, we have 4 elements: research, gather data, analyze, and manage. And then normally the important element in this aspect is publication. And then we're using this publication to present to the panel, or we try to fulfill the research output. Okay, in this analysis data normally will involve the critical appraisal of the literature, developing the question and also the hypothesis, theoretical base, sampling strategies, data collection techniques, approach to qualitative and quantitative data analysis, interpretation of result, explanation of research. And all these ideas or elements we can present in a very comprehensive graph and also figures. And normally we can call this a scientific graphing lah. Okay, next. Kalau any question, kalau ada soalan boleh tanya. Any question you can just ask, because we try to make today we just summarize the, because if we conduct research, we have so many elements we need to fulfill. But today we just focusing on the scientific graphing. Okay, this slide show the paper publication process. I think this is quite familiar if you do the research. One, complete your research, prepare the manuscript, submit the manuscript get reviewed, decision, acceptance, and publication. This is the normal flow in order to produce a paper or you will submit to the journal. Then this is the element during the complete your research, identify the original work, record the data either in the graph or table, write the papers as a journal or conference formatting, use good quality image, upload the paper in the portal of a journal conference, 2 or 3% review the works, feedbacks need to be considered and applied. Depending on the feedbacks by reviewer, the paper is rejected, asked to be revised or accepted. Final check of quality, placed in the queue for publication. If you refer this flow, the scientific graphic will involve from complete your research until manuscript get to review it. That means if you can produce a very good graphing, this will increase the chances of your paper will go through the pre-evaluation in the editorial process. Normally, if your figure is not so good, your paper will easily rejected during the pre-evaluation process. This is a normal of the process. If you submit to the high impact journal or very high quality of journal. Okay, this is I would like to share about the indexing criteria. I think it just share about the how the journal will indexing by WOS or Scopus. Normally the paper the journal selection criteria apply consistently and objectively to the each journal. One is journal publishing standard, editorial content, international diversity, and citation analysis. But today I would like to focus about the journal publishing standard. That means here your journal will peer reviewed during the submission. And then if you have a very good scientific graph, this is will increase the chances of your paper will go through the another process during the editorial review. Okay, this is the detail we can read because all these, for example, editorial contents will involve how does this journal compare with the covered journal of similar scope. Is this subject already well covered? Will this journal enrich works with novel content? And then another factor is international diversity. Does this journal target international or regional audience? This means in here, we need to make sure that your journal is not a single author. We need to make sure that the journal or your publication will involve multidisciplinary or sharing co-author from different university research group, and the best is different continent. And then citation analysis. Okay, this is we refer to the publisher aspect, how the publisher try to make sure that the citation is good. Here we have a strategy how to increase the citation. Okay, this is the aspect or the element covered by publisher. But today, as a student or researcher, normally we are focusing on how to make sure that the paper will go through the editorial process or peer review. Okay, this is an example of capturing good quality manuscript. Okay, this is a normal process from manuscript types until review. Okay, in this today in this session, we just focus on how to produce the very the interesting figures suitable for your paper. We try to make sure that your paper can produce a very good scientific graphing, okay, in order to make sure the pre-evaluation paper is run smoothly and your paper will proceed for the next stage. Okay, this is an outline from the we refer to the research scenario. That means I'll try to connect the we call the influence of the publication, presentation in the research flow. Okay, this is the overall research scenario, which is involve the process of biodiesel until we burn in engine and also we burn in burner. Then if you refer, this is very comprehensive process, start from C1 until C4, but everything we need to deliver is publication and presentation. Okay, this is also the flow chart of research activities. I think it's quite normal for you maybe, but the important thing is also we need to produce publication and presentation. Okay, this is a research flow. Normally, research flow will involve a three element: input, process, and output. Maybe input is involve the problem statement, objective scopes, problem statement, input parameter, and maybe variable. And then we move to the next stage about the methodology or process. Normally this process will involve the fabrication, the aspects of methodology, and then how to make sure that the experiment is follow the standards, and then continue. Sometimes your research will involve the simulation and modeling. Then normally we need to observe what happened during data capturing or data analysis. And then the last is we try to finalize the analysis from your research findings. And then the last aspect is output. We need to make sure we can deliver the input or the output from normally in products, paper journal, presentation. pattern and exhibition. But today we are focusing on publication and presentation. This means we try to make sure you can produce a very good scientific graph in order to deliver in aspect of paper and presentation. Okay, ada soalan tak? Ada apa soalan? Any question?
In case of any questions, feel free to ask.
Okay, ramai ni. Ada nak tanya apa-apa? Just tanya, boleh tanya apa-apa before we continue? Ada nak tanya? Macam faham semua ni? Any question?
Assalamualaikum, Doktor.
Okay.
I'm Ainina, a student postgrad. I would like to ask, what is the difference between Scopus proceeding and Scopus journal?
Okay, Scopus is okay. Firstly, Scopus is one body index the publication, and then why we refer to Scopus because Scopus has a very good rubric data how they are indexing the journal. If the journal indexing by Scopus, that means the journal has a very good quality in terms of editorial process, review, and other aspect. And then under Scopus, the Scopus index so many publication, not only proceedings journal. Some under Scopus, they also index books, monograph, and others publication. But in answer your question, what the different proceeding and journal is the proceeding the journal normally the very good presentation in terms of publication, and then for proceeding maybe the quality or the data or the findings in this this means in terms of content maybe the lower compared to the journal. Okay, answer your question.
Yes, thank you, Doctor.
Okay, maybe other question. Okay, ada soalan. Macam takut je semua ni. Postgraduate ni. Okay, maybe we continue. Now we are moved to in term of origin. Ada soalan Tak ada Okay. Okay, okay, this is a part of my book lah, published by Penerbit UTHM, and then this book focus on how to produce scientific graph. Sekejap saya copy masukkan dalam ni. Sekejap. Okay, saya dah copy masuk dalam chat. Boleh refer to ni lah, chat kalau nak. Okay. Okay, type data, data type structured data. Boleh nampak tak slide ni? You can see this slide.
Yes, doctor.
Boleh.
Okay, this is an example of structured data. For example, normally typical store in data or spreadsheet required to manage in accordance with the standardized storage format and methodology, data visualization, tools that enable the human to see meaningful patterns in data, machine learning, tools that enable computer to find pattern in data to perform either classification, clustering, or predicting key target variables of interest. Okay, from these figures, that means we try to produce the scientific graph in order to make people understand from the so many data you are finding in your research. Then if you refer to the previous slides, I would like to, I already show the element of data collecting in research. Normally, the data will represent in qualitative and qualitative, and then the best way to produce from qualitative and quantitative, we need to produce this data in terms of figures and table. And then later I will discuss what the best tool in order to produce the scientific graph. Okay, this is another example of graph for categorical variable. Okay, this is a pie chart and bar graph to summarize the categorical variable. For example, a pie chart, a slide of pie, bar, a graph that display vertical bar for each category. I think for pie chart and bar chart is I think is normal. And then how we can produce the very comprehensive graph from this pie chart and bar graph. Okay, if you can refer to this pie chart, the pie chart is good for because for the data is not not a very comprehensive data. But if you want to produce very detailed data, it's quite difficult to using pie chart. For example, if you're using a scientific graph, you can combine more than 4 or 5 pie chart in only one graph. This is the important, the powerful of the graphic, scientific graphic. Okay, this is other unstructured data. Okay, this is normally we are referring to the qualitative data. This is an example of image, text, audio, and video. Different data types lend themselves to different analytical techniques. Unstructured data often required a pre-processing period to enable structured data analysis. Okay, this is an example of unstructured data analysis, text, audio, and video analysis. Okay, say another example of advanced data visualization. This also example of qualitative data. Normally, we can using graph, scientific graph to convert all this information to the scientific graphing in order to translate or to convert the qualitative to quantitative data. Okay, now we are moving to the origin software. If talking about the scientific graphing tools, the communicating visual is one the most effective way, and then the communicating visual is one of the most effective way in order to explain the complex concept and relationship, and then we can be a great way to explain your service or product. We try to make sure that diagram and whiteboarding in order to communicate a new features, deliver the research output, and provide, especially for information visualization, the ability to create one or more infographic from a provided data set. And then the last section show the list of tool or software in order to produce the scientific graph. In nowadays we have so many tool or software. Normally people using Excel software to produce data. Maybe in terms of the many advantage, if you refer to the Excel software is a good software to analysis or to make sure that the data can extend to the in terms of a data analysis. But in terms of drawings or to represent the graph, nowadays the people not using Excel to produce a very comprehensive graph. Normally they are using this list of tool software. For example, we have a simple grapher, Freemat, Grace, and so many. But today we just focus on Origin Pro. It's mean one of the software we can produce scientific graph easily. Okay, this is the background of Origin. Okay, the Origin Pro based data analysis and graphing software that operate around revamped workbook space, which allow result of an analysis to be placed into a worksheet with a raw data workbooks. Parameter values, statistic, and related analysis graph are available whenever looking at the original data. A new multi-sheet workbook feeders keeps all related data analysis graph together. Sheet can be moved, added, insert, or deleted. Workbook in the new version also contain a new headers that allows user to embed graph and image within a cell to create a custom report. This is the application of Origin. And normally Origin software you are focused on draw and present the graph. This is the example of application of Origin. Origin provides an ideal platform to custom application development. Simple customization can include creating custom graph template for repeat use. The Origin worksheet can be customized by inserting objects such as image and graph and merging cells to create custom reports. And then example using Origin for discipline-specific application are available in these areas: chemistry, engineering, neuroscience, pharmacology, spectroscopy, and test and measurement. And then provide easy access to graphing and analysis. Feeders allowing a user to create custom script code, which can be assigned to tools bar button for creating quick and easy custom tools. And the last sentence means sometimes people using Origin in order to improving the data. sometimes, for example, if you capture the pressure inside the engine, normally the raw data is the line is not constant, and then we need to do smoothing in this origin. This means the origin can smooth from the fluctuated data to the one line. This is called a part of advantage in origin we can using for smoothing the data capture from your research. Okay, this is just share about the origin software. These figures show the origin interface. The interface is user friendly. That means we can easily to draw the graph, and then we can easily to call the raw data or the original data. Then Origin is proprietary computer program for interactive scientific graphing and data analysis. It is produced by Origin Lab Corporation and runs on Microsoft Windows. Graphing support in Origin include various 2D or 3D plot types. And then data analysis in Origin includes statistic, signal processing, curve fitting, and peak analysis. Origin curve fittings is performed by nonlinear least square fitters, which is is based on the Lambert micro algorithms. Okay, this is an example origin graph for publication. Normally, people will using Excel software to produce a graph, but for example, if you want to draw the left side figures, that means we can see this figure is comprised from 6 graph. Yeah, if you're using the Excel software, it's quite difficult to produce these types of graph. But if you're using Origin Pro, this graph is very easy to produce. You just copy and paste only. This means if you can, firstly you can draw one graph, and then you can easily copy and paste this graph to one. This means from one you can produce 10 or 12 figures easily. Okay, and then this is example of Origin Pro. At the same time, we can label the graph using this Origin Pro in order to make sure that people can understand the data presented. Okay, this is another example of Origin, the application Origin in order to produce the figures for publication. Okay. And then the right figure show that you can embed the original figures inside the graph easily. Okay, this one already discussed. Okay, this one already discussed. Okay, this is another example of Origin application. We can easily produce this graph using Origin Pro. At the same time, you can produce the graph using the calibration, similar like the left figures, wafer radius. And then the very comprehensive graph, we can embed 2 graph in one template, like the temperature versus proton counts.
Hello, doctor. Just
Yeah.
now, someone raised hands to ask a question just now.
Okay, what question? Can you read for me?
I mean, someone raised but haven't typed yet. But
Oh, okay. Please. Any question? Okay.
Hello and good day, everyone. Hello, Doctor.
Okay. Any question?
I'm Muhammad Fatabi Ahmad from FKMP THM, final year student.
Okay.
I would like to ask what's the more detail on difference between Origin and Excel
Okay.
for doing this scientific graphing.
Okay. Today we just discuss about this graphic scientific graph. For example, Origin, the software is focused on draw the scientific graph. But Excel is a very powerful tools or software. We can do the data analysis. We can manage the data, and so many things we can do using Excel. But Excel have a limitation of to produce a very good or the very quality of scientific graphing. That the different. That means Origin, the special tools to draw the graph, but the Excel is a very powerful tool to do everything in order to analyze the data, to structure the data, and so many things. You can using the Excel. Okay.
Doctor, we have another question from
Okay.
chat box. I read the question as the way they ask. Salam, boleh tahu UTHM ada license untuk Origin?
Okay. In answer your question, the Origin software dekat Malaysia, dekat UTHM tak ada. Tapi dia tak mahal. Mungkin dua software lebih kurang dalam 4,000 ataupun 3,000 macam tu lah. Jadi memang buat masa ni memang tak ada lah. Mungkin you can propose to faculty for buy this software.
Okay, Doktor.
Okay, ada soalan lain? Ada soalan kalau nak tanya apa? Ni ada soalan ni daripada Nurul Fatihah. Usually Origin plotting untuk apa Origin plotting. Boleh Nurul boleh elaborate apa tak soalan awak? Nurul Fatihah.
Assalamualaikum Doktor.
Okay.
Biasanya kan Origin tu dia macam Doktor cakap dia plotting graph kan, ada few graph. Jadi saya nak tanyalah selalunya dia plotting tu untuk what type of graph? Untuk dia specialize ke dia tak kisah semua graph boleh guna Origin?
Yang sebenarnya Origin kalau Origin ni dia boleh buat semua graph, macam-macam graph, dan graph yang dihasilkan memang sangat berkualiti. Sebab dia memang special tools for draw the graph. That's why kalau you nak buat journal ataupun nak hantar ke journal yang high quality, dia tengok graph awak pun dah tahu dah daripada mana awak buat. Kalau awak hantar guna Excel, dia akan lihat, maksudnya impression dia dah tahu dah. Maksudnya penulis ni memang ataupun group dia ni memang ataupun data yang dihasil daripada group ataupun tim penyelidikan ni memang tak mahir ataupun tak menggunakan world class punya methodology in term of draw graph lah. Tapi kalau awak ada, itu yang first impression dia. Mungkin the next level dia akan tengok content lah. Kalau content awak baik, mungkin dia akan accept jugalah. Ni kita cerita yang very good quality lah. That's why today I would like to educate and we try to make sure that di UTHM kita dah bermula ke arah world class punya software to draw graph lah. Sebab kalau kat Malaysia ni memang saya banyak dipanggil universiti-universiti luar untuk improve dia punya postgraduate. Sebab bila tengok pakai Excel memang impression orang dah cakap yang ni level research team ni aspek of data analysis ataupun graphing dia tak baik lah. Kalau awak pergi luar negara, semua orang akan guna, dia tak semestinya origin. Kita cerita special tool for drawing graph lah. Sebab kalau awak pergi negara-negara luar, dia akan guna macam-macam software. Tapi the idea is we try to produce good quality graph lah. Jadi apa maksudnya? First impression lah, kalau hantar journal, orang tengok kadang-kadang kalau awak mungkin faham lah kot, kalau awak hantar journal, awak kan apa dapat rejection dalam 1-2 hari. Maksudnya orang yang go through awak punya paper tu dia tak tengok sangat keseluruhan, dia just tengok overall aja. Jadi kita harap dengan very good quality graph, walaupun content tak berapa baik, kita akan proceed for the next stage of evaluation lah. Jadi kita berharap benda tu. Sebab kita nak pastikan UTHM pun sama level dengan yang luar lah. Okay, apa any question? Ada lagi soalan? Okay.
Assalamualaikum Prof. Okay, saya Hanis dari FTK. Saya nak tanya macam mana dengan license untuk origin ni? Dan UTHM ada tak sediakan apalah kemudahan untuk kita gunakan Origin Pro ni? Terima kasih.
Okay. UTHM masa ni tak sediakan. Saya pun beli lesen personal lah pakai duit grant dulu. Saya beli lesen. So saya tulis buku, jadi saya perlu ada lesen lah. Jadi saya beli dulu pun pakai duit grant je. Jadi kalau untuk universiti, mungkin kita boleh propose lah untuk tak mahal pun sebenarnya compare dengan ada software. Kalau software, lepas tu dia tak perlu renew whole life punya license. Sekali beli boleh guna bila-bila.
Boleh saya tahu harga dia tak?
Dulu saya beli, dia jual 2 lesen sekali, dia tak jual satu. 2 lesen lebih kurang tak sampai 5-6 ribu. Lebih kurang macam tu lah, saya pun dah lupa, tapi tak mahal. Berbanding dengan software lain yang ratus-ratus ribu kan.
Okey, baik. Terima kasih.
Okey. Mungkin kita boleh propose ke FTK kot. Mungkin. Okey.
So doktor, nak tanya yang bila kita buat multi graph kan, bila kita nak restructure the graph and restructure the data, adakah dia akan automatically restructure graph tu juga?
Betul, dia
restructure the data.
Betul, dia automatically. Kalau dalam Origin, kita kena buat template. Dah ada template nanti, kita just masuk akan aja. Contoh kan, kalau kita buat 6 graph. Okay, kita buat template and then after we change the data, the line is automatically update. Jadi, kalau macam student saya dah buat template lah untuk 6.6, 8.8, 4.4. Jadi, any findings, just masuk data baru, graph baru akan keluar. Very easy.
And the graph tu boleh copy paste jugalah untuk
boleh.
New sheet.
Boleh copy paste new sheet. Duplicate, we call duplicate.
Yeah.
And then
thank you doctor.
Bila kita cut paste in paper, the quality is very interesting lah, very cantik. Memang high quality lah. Okay, any question?
Doctor, there is another question by Carl's Worries Me. Hello doctor, sometimes the value I get for analysis in Origin is different than Excel. Therefore, which value is more accurate?
Okay, what difference? Normally, any numbers you key in Origin, the Origin just read the exactly number. What the difference? Maybe Kazwa resmi. Apa maksudnya?
Hello doktor. Assalamualaikum.
Okay. Susah sangat soalan awak ni.
Saya kadang-kadang saya dah gunakan Excel ni. Tapi contohnya saya nak cari nilai R squared, multiple regression analysis kan. Kadang-kadang saya run dekat Excel dapat value R dia lain. Tapi bila saya run kat Origin dapat value dia lain. Data yang sama, template yang sama.
That's mean Bila kita gunakan untuk analisis, normally every software dia ada dia punya software auto generate tu. Jadi kalau in term of variation dia tak jauh, mungkin awak boleh fokus inilah. Saya rasa ni backdoor punya sistem ni. Maksudnya how dia analisis the data. Jadi kalau macam tu, jangan gunakan dua. Contoh kalau awak nak analisis origin, guna origin je. Kalau nak guna Excel, guna Excel je. Supaya tu sebab dalam paper kita normal write at the methodology section, you can mention kan, this data run by Origin Pro, macam tu. Jadi maksudnya the data ni available lah. Jadi ni awak tak boleh compare line ni guna software Excel and satu lagi line guna Origin, tak boleh lah, tak boleh compare. Menjawab tak soalan saya tu?
Okey, terima kasih. Jawab.
Jadi awak kena fix pada satu sistem lah.
Okey, faham.
Okey. Lagi satu dulu macam saya buat dulu smoothing. Kalau awak nak dapat close the numbers or the finding is close, it means you try to find this what we call the variable numbers. Contoh mungkin guna 3 untuk origin, guna 5 untuk Excel, but the result is same. Macam tu awak kena carilah titik pertemuan tu. Boleh Kalau Rizmi, okey
Okey Doktor, terima kasih.
Okay, and ada soalan lagi?
Not from the chat box. Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, we can continue maybe.
Sure,
Okay.
Doctor.
Okay, tadi sampai mana? Okay. Okay, this is an example of origin application. And then the origin software is quite well known. You can easily to study or refer the tutorial in YouTube, and you just easily find the we call tutorial in Google. You just type origin application and then you can find the tutorial. Okay. This is another example. That means you can easily produce 4x4 graph, and then topography graph, and multiple line graph, and then we call variable data, and then for the right is emission energy. That means refer to the color intensity. And then this is an example of origin application. We can combine multiple graph type in the same graph. And then the value graph will show the comparison of a 3D and 2D graph. And then spiderweb graph. Then the other one is we call a very compressive graph, and then compare with the table. Okay, then the other aspect origin. We can using the origin special for presentation. Okay, this is the just a simple case study. We need to this means the research plan sequence consists of flowing 6 steps. This is a normal step for do the research. Then from developing statement, research question, research hypothesis, and then instruments, and then gathering, analyzing data, and drawing conclusion. Then normally we need to produce the publication, and we need to present something to the funder or to the owner of or the sponsor of grants. Okay, this example. Yeah, this is example of we can capture the qualitative data from the experiment. This is also another example of qualitative data from experiment. That means in this research we can find the flame image, and then I would like to show how to change the qualitative data to the quantitative data using the Origin Pro. This is another example of flame development. That means this is the qualitative data, and then we can write so many things from these figures. But in terms of high impact journal, normally the editor teams need to identify the quantitative data from your qualitative data. Okay, this is an example of image analysis method in order to produce or to change the qualitative data to quantitative data. For example, from one image, we can separate the different kind of intensity flame to, for example, here I would like to elaborate the dark flame and bright flame. That means the different kind of flame is referring to the changes of intensity. And then we can, this is also consider quality data. Even this data, this image already run through the image processing, but we also consider these findings in qualitative data. And then from this, for example, from this dark flame and bright flame, we can elaborate or can draw in Origin Pro data. This is simple Origin Pro graph. In this graph, I would like to elaborate the changes of bright and dark flame under different of flame area ratio. Okay, for the right top graph is special for journal. This means normally journal required black and white figures. Unless you willing to pay a very expensive price to publish in colors, but normally the editor team will request black and white, because if we can publish in black and white, your paper is easily print using black and white printer. That's why in Origin, in order to make sure that your graph or your figures can easily understand if you print in black and white, we need to make sure that the variance or the different in a legend. For example, in this graph, we can play the bright flame with a different kind of intensity and also the types of line. Easily you can just select from the Origin Pro software. And then the below graph is a graph we can design special for slide presentation, but it's not good for journal, but special for slide presentation. Here we can play with colors easily in if using the Origin Pro. This is another example how we can convert from qualitative to quantitative, and then how to draw journal or how to draw figures for journal, and how we can produce graph suitable for slide presentation. Normally, the slide presentation needs the graph colorful and interesting to easily to the readers understand during the presentation session. Okay, next. Okay, this okay. And then for any question sebelum kita masuk PowerPoint slide?
Yes, Doctor, there is one question.
Okay.
I mean, two questions actually. One by Natasha. Salam, Doctor. What is the difference between MATLAB and Origin?
Okay, MATLAB I think similar like Excel. MATLAB is a very good software to do programming and everything. But in terms of drawings or produce graph, they have limitation in terms of time lah. You can produce the graph, but it takes time to produce compared to Origin Pro.
Okay, Doctor. There is another question by Fadila. Doctor, how do we determine the type of graph that is appropriate to use with our data?
Okay, I think the types of graph maybe it's quite fundamental, depends on the fields. Maybe the best way to produce the graph, you can discuss with supervisor. But in terms of Origin software, normally Origin software can cover so many types of graph.
Okay, Doctor. That's all for now.
Ada soalan lain? Ada soalan lain? Ni, jarang-jarang ni. Saya biasa
Doctor, there is one question.
Okay.
Okay, hi doctor. Good morning. Doctor, can you hear me?
Okay, it's okay.
Okay. Actually, I have tried download the Origin Pro. Yang student yang trial version punya. Sebab dekat web saya tengok dia ada trial version for about 21 days, and then yang original punya, and then saya try download. Pada doktor pernah guna ke yang trial punya? And then dia sama ke? I mean like features dia apa benda semua?
Sama. I think sometimes sama-sama memang, tapi dia akan ada expired nanti.
Betul, dia 21 days saja.
Tapi memang sama.
Oh, memang sama. Oh, okay. Kalau macam tu boleh jugalah kan buat dalam yang trial version ni, cuma dia kena macam redownload macam tu, betul ke?
Jadi kalau awak pago, kalau nak belajar software nanti boleh jumpa student saya di Pago. Awak belajar dengan dia lah.
Oh, boleh.
Nanti awak WhatsApp saya, nanti saya bagi. Sebab kalau awak study dengan orang 1-2 hari dah pandai dah. Tak susah.
Betul.
Kalau awak study sendiri mungkin ambil masa sikit.
Oh, okay. Baik doktor. Terima kasih.
Okay, ada soalan lain? Kalau tak ada, kesambung lagi. Okay, we can continue. Okay, okay, next I would like to share about the application of Origin Pro in slide presentation. Okay, this is a basic, maybe just share lah about the basic making PowerPoint slide. Normally, if you have 10 minutes or 10 minutes, 15 or 10 minute presentation, normally we can make sure the content is outlines, background, slide structure, fonts, colors, graph, spelling, and grammar, and conclusion and question. This is aspect in making of PowerPoint slide. And then in terms of slide structure, normally you need to use 1 or 2 slides per minute for your presentation, and then use diagram, graph, figures, write in point form, not complete sentences, and slide template. That means slide template, this is example of this is important element we can cover by Origin Pro. This means in terms of font, colors, interesting graph, and slide structure. And then next we move to the graph criteria. It's good you can use a graph rather than just chart and words. Data in graph is easier to comprehend and retain than is raw data. Trends are easier to visual in graph form. Always title your graph. And then in terms of color, I think it's very important. Using a font color that does not contrast with the background colors is hard to read. That means this is example. If using yellow color in your slide presentation, it's quite difficult to read. Using color for decoration is distracting and annoying. Using a different color for each point is unnecessary. Using a different color for secondary point is so unnecessary. And then try to be creative. Okay. Try to be creative can also be bad. That means if you put so many color in your graph or in your slide presentation, it's not so good. Okay, this is an example of the application of Origin in graph presentation. Okay, normally for the first graph, title, contents, and then we can start play with a graph, simple graph. For background 1, background 2, that's mean normally background 1 is advantage of your research, and then what the motivation of your research is normally for background 1. And then for background 2 is referring to the negative. And then this is reflects to the problem statement, because background 2 which reflects to the problem statement. Then from this problem statement, we can using Origin Pro graph to make sure that your readers understand about the problem statement. And then we can using Origin Pro to make sure the detail area of graph. For example, in these figures, we just expand the this area, the the heat recovery here. That's why we can expand to the another aspect of graph. And then from problem statement, we can produce UTHM scope, and then we can using Origin Pro to produce a graph for result and discussion. Here we can see that you just you can only prepare 3 slides for represent for your findings. Okay, this is an example of my PhD presentation. That means we just produce 3 slides for discuss about your 3 years work. Itulah example. Okay, that means the Origin Pro can produce very comprehensive graph, and then and we can easily to present with focus on your scope and objective. Okay, and then this example Origin for presentation. We can play with colors and legend, and then we can combine so many graph in one slide presentation. And also at the same time, we can using Origin Pro to put the qualitative data or the image in the qualitative data, because the people can easily to understand this data is come from what kind of image or what kind of the qualitative data. Okay. Okay, any question before we? I would like to share about the publication.
Anyone has any question? You can ask.
Okay, this is an example of the scenario of Elsevier and publishing. We have so many elements of we need so many elements Elsevier considered in the indexing. One is manage submission, manage a peer review, edit and prepare, production, publish and disseminate, archive and promote use. But in today in this session, we just focus on the graph preparation. That means this is the example of the technical paper structure. This number is referring to the step how to produce the technical paper structure. Normally, the way we are preparing the technical paper is we start with the result and discussion, and then continue. We can write conclusion, and then followed by experiment setup, simulation or modeling. It depends on your research, and then we complete your technical writing with the introduction, and last we can prepare the abstract even during. And this the way we are prepare the technical paper is we start with the result in discussion. Normally, result in discussion, we have so many elements here. One, figures, writings, findings, and everything. But normally, we can start write result in discussion with referring to the figures or table that you can find from your research. Then from these figures and table, we can draw the storyboard, and then this storyboard you can start to write result and discussion section. Okay, this is the example graph criteria for publication. Maybe if you refer to this graph, I think it's you can look or can see the quite normal graph, but actually they have a special criteria for publication. One is line, for example, A is line, thickness, and type. That means normally your line or your finding line is more thickness compared to the others line in your graph. And then B is marking direction. You try to make sure that the marking direction is consistent in one pattern or direction. Number C is label position. Normally, you must have a very standard of label position. One, for example, the top graph label at the right area, and then the lower or the bottom graph is the label is the right area or position. And then D is scale direction. The small scale direction is it must consistent in the same for top and below graph. And then scale mark or position E. This means the side is similar or consistent. F is a constant parameter. It means normally if you draw the graph, for example, if you compare to the 2 or 3 graph, make sure that you can write the consistent parameter in the graph. No need to draw or to write in the title graph. That's why the label in figures 7 is simple. Initial, flame propagation, and pressure history, but the parameter already draw in graph. And then G label, you need to label for easy reader to understand. H, font size similar with title. This is very important. You try to make sure that the font size for graph is similar with the title font size. And then B spline and mark. Make sure you have a very good selection of line types. And then J, suitable scale range. Make sure that you have a very consistent of scale range. If you refer to this, if you follow to all these graph criteria, normally your graph is quite easier to understand and interesting to the editor for publication. Okay, this is an example origin graph. Maybe we can already discuss before. Okay, summary. Origin is a powerful and extremely versatile data analysis and graphic package designed for user in all fields of experimental and theoretical sciences. Origin has a very wide selection for build in 2D and 3D graph types, and that have a large number of possible formatting options. It is possible to build and manipulate multi-layer graph, arrange multiple graph on the same page, and link multiple access between graph. The range of graphical option is enough to cover the majority of scientific needs. And then followed by overall, Origin preserve its leading status as the most functional and comprehensive data analysis and graphing software on the market. It comes to performing regional data analysis for producing publication quality graph and slide presentation preparation. Okay, maybe that's all. Maybe you can open for discussion or any question we can try to answer.
Is there any question you can ask right now?
Ya, ada soalan? Ada any question? Ni penting ni graf awak ni. Session ni biasa sangat ni kan. It's quite difficult lah untuk kalau tak try. You need to try and then you can understand how to using Origin Pro. Okay?
Hello doktor.
Okay.
Macam mana ya kalau contoh saya dapat yang crack version untuk software Origin Pro ni, adakah dia punya feature tu sama ataupun ada perbezaan?
Saya tak pasti, tapi kalau saya tak pasti, biasa sama je lah, tak ada masalah kot. Tak ada masalah.
Yeah. Sebab this Origin Pro ni memang baik bagi saya lah, sebab saya boleh skip saya punya experimental work. Contoh sebab saya buat satu analisis untuk line width dengan thickness untuk ink deposition. Jadi kalau tengok pada figure 7 tadi, saya boleh buat seperti mana experimental lah. So dalam condition yang pandemik macam ni, saya boleh skip lah, saya rasa saya punya experimental work dengan guna Origin Pro ni.
Oh itu in term of methodology tu mungkin awak boleh discuss dengan supervisor awak lah kot. Tak boleh komen. Jadi kalau boleh guna Origin Pro, kena make sure inline dengan awak punya research methodology lah.
Baik doktor, terima kasih.
Awak kena understand behind tu nanti tu. Equation apa yang digunakan apa semua tu.
Yes doktor.
Okay. Ada question?
Doktor.
Okay.
Pada doktor, dulu doktor belajar software ni berapa lama? Macam berapa jam paling kejap lah, paling kejap.
Maksudnya?
Maksudnya doktor ambil masa untuk belajar software ni berapa lama?
Oh, benda ni dia macam TVET jugalah. Maksudnya semakin awak praktis, semakin awak mahir. Jadi awak kena praktis lah. Nanti semakin lama semakin mahir. Mungkin peringkat awal awak akan rasa susah sebab awak sekarang terperangkap dengan Excel. Saya kebiasaan pelajar akan terperangkap dengan Excel. Maksudnya Excel mudah tapi awak tak boleh pergi jauh. Macam tu lah maksudnya. Bila awak study the right tools, maksudnya awak boleh buat macam-macam nanti for the future. Tapi kalau untuk short term ni memang awak akan terperangkap dengan kemudahan ataupun software dalam Excel, tapi dia akan ada limitation nanti. Jadi kalau macam saya pastikan semua student saya guna Origin supaya dia dapat bermula ataupun using the right direction or right software lah for future. Okay.
Kiranya doktor kalau untuk construction ada banyak ke kegunaan dalam construction Origin ni?
Dia Origin ni special untuk lukis graphs everything. Sesusah mana pun graph awak nanti boleh buat dalam Origin. Kalau software-software yang tak special untuk grafik nanti akan ada limitation nanti.
Okay doktor, terima kasih.
Okay, lepas tu kalau awak letak dalam PowerPoint ataupun dalam paper, nanti graf tu sangat berkualiti. Sangat berkualiti. Maksudnya bila kita, senang cerita kalau awak guna dah tahu dah. Kalau sebagai editor journal, tengok dah tahu dah. Ini guna Origin ni guna, ataupun dia tak tahu Origin lah. Mungkin dia kata, ini guna special software untuk grafik. Yang ni draw Excel aja ni. Macam tu ada dapat tahulah. Sebab ada limitation tu.
Okey doktor.
Jadi kalau postgraduate ni saya rasa bagus mula benda yang the right lah. Nanti kita tak nak nanti dah awak akan facing difficulty lah untuk buat yang recurrency graph nanti. Tak susah lah sebenarnya. Kalau awak belajar dengan try and error sekejap je. Awak maksudnya awak guna tutorial dalam YouTube pun dah boleh pandai dah. Okay. Ada soalan lain?
Doctor, there is another question.
Okay.
By Nina, Origin Pro sesuai tak kalau nak buat coding macam MATLAB?
Yang saya tahu Origin Pro ada limitation on programming. Sebab dia bukannya software untuk programming. Tapi dia boleh buat tapi ada limitation dia. Tu dia boleh buat tapi ada limitation. Maksudnya untuk in term of programming nanti akan ada limitation nanti lah. Bukan tak boleh buat tapi akan ada macam kita tadi cerita lah. Excel ada limitation untuk drawing, graph, tapi Origin Pro ada limitation untuk programming. Sebab saya pun dulu ada guna untuk buat programming untuk analisis image. Sebab kita nak dapat graph terus kan daripada Origin Pro. Boleh buat je ke? Tak ada masalah. Okay, ada
any other questions that you might want to ask? This is your moment, this is your chance.
Okay, kalau tak ada apa-apa, maybe I return to organizer. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Amir. It was definitely a very fruitful session indeed, and we are looking forward to have more sessions with you. I hope all the participants can do a proper graphical charts and everything, or at least understand the fundamental aspects of our today's topic. And thanks to all participants who have been supporting and cherishing programs by Postgraduate Students Chapter Council. And please kindly fill in the feedback form in the chat box. And now I would like to invite all of you for a photo session. Please kindly turn on your camera for the photo session. Is it done? I guess it is done. Thank you so much for the photo session, everyone. And thank you. Please feel free to engage with us to get to know about further programs by Postgraduate Students Chapter Council. And thank you so much. Till then, see you soon. Good day.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Dr.
Doctor.
Amir. Thank you, organizer.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor, and have a nice day.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.